Om Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna, Devotees. Today is birthday of Ramanujacharya. A very, very nice day. He's one of the heads of one of the four sampradayas, and very important personality. So this is a little guide as to the different types of sampradayas in Kali Yuga, which are considered to be authorized, bona fide, if you like. These are the four Vaishnava sampradayas. So they all originate ultimately from the Supreme Lord. And one of them, the head of the sampradaya is Brahma. Another one is Lakshmiji. Another is Lord Shiva. And the fourth one is four Kumaras. Each one of them had the main Acharya who carried forward the teachings of that sampradaya. And they all differ a little bit, except they have one common theme, which is the Supreme Lord is personal, is not impersonal. So the Brahma Sampradaya had Madhavacharya as the head, and Sri Sampradaya, Lakshmi Sampradaya, has Ramanujacharya, and his appearance day is today. And predominantly, Sri Sampradaya is very influential, very big in south of Bharat. That's most of those huge temples are attributed to Sri Sampradaya in South Bharat. And Lord Shiva's Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami is the head, and the four Kumaras is Nimbakacharya. So the timeline, so it's nice to have a quick look at this timeline. Krishna appeared 5,000 years back, more than that, more than 5,000 years. After him came Lord Buddha, another incarnation of the Lord. And he came to dispel the use of the Vedas, because the Vedas were being misused for animal sacrifice. And he came to stop that misuse. And then 1,000 years later came Sankaracharya to re-establish the Vedas, but from a Mayavadi point of view. So he propagated principally the philosophy that one can become God. But Sankaracharya is non-different from Lord Shiva, who is a great devotee of the Lord. So it sort of goes against the nature of a devotee to say that one can become God. So Sankaracharya often would preach personal Vaishnava philosophy, especially at the end of his life. He said, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, Bhaja Govinda, chant the holy names of the Lord, Govinda. But anyway, his principal mission, Sankaracharya's, was to re-establish Vedic Dharma. And then the four chiefs of the Sampradayas came. So Rudra Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami came first. Then Sri Sampradaya, Ramanujacharya came, after whom Nimbakacharya came, and then was followed by Madhvacharya. And then nearer to our timeline, about 500 years ago, 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Navadvip, and he took teachings actually from all four of these sampradayas. He sort of, I wouldn't say merged them, but he took the best out of all of them. And then our own Srila Prabhupada appeared in 1896, and he brought everything with him to the West. So we have this great fortune of having access to great philosophy. And a very quick comparison of these four. There's not that much difference between them. The worshipable deity in the Rudra Sampradaya is Krishna and Nrsimha. In the four Kumaras is Krishna and Radha as well. Sri Sampradaya is Vishnu and Ram. Brahma Sampradaya is Vishnu. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Gaudiya line has Krishna, Radha Krishna, Gaunitai as the principal worshipable deities. The philosophies are also quite similar, but somewhat different as well. Shuddha Advaita, purified monism, Dvaita, monism, and dualism. So one is one with God, but also at the same time different from God. Vashishtha Advaita, specified monism, Dvaita, purified dualism, and the one that really is amazing is Achintya Bhede Tattva, that is inconceivable oneness and different. Yes, we are one with God, but we're also different as well. So, and inconceivably different. And then the moods of the devotees are also a little different between the sampradayas. In the Rudra Sampradaya, parental, friendship, conjugal. In the folk Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya is the same. Sri Sampradaya is mainly servant or parent. And in the Brahma Sampradaya, servant. In the Gaudiya Sampradaya, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu put forward all five of the different moods: neutral, neutrality, servant, friend, parent, and conjugal. So he was born in 1017, 1000 and a bit more than that now. Oh yeah, that's about right. Ramanuja's family belonged to the caste of Vadama Smarta Brahmins, who were formal Vedic scholars. Ramanuja's parents, Keshavacharya and Bhudevi, prayed to the Lord for a special soul who would glorify Sri Vishnu. The Lord answered their prayers, and Lakshman, the first expansion of the Lord, appeared as Ramanuja. Ramanuja was married at the age of 16. And after marriage, his father unfortunately passed away, and the family then moved to Kanchipuram. And he became a scholar of Yadav Prakash, who happened to be a Mayavadi. Mayavad philosophy was very prominent at that time. And that's why Lakshman came as Ramanuja in order to stop this poisonous philosophy. Although he did not agree, so Ramanujacharya didn't agree with the philosophy of becoming one with God, he didn't leave that school. Ramanuja was an excellent student. So hence why he didn't agree with his teacher's conclusions. So there was bound to be some conflict. One day Ramanuja was massaging his guru's back as Yadav Prakash explained a verse containing the words Kapyasam Pundarikam Evam Aksini. Following the interpretation of Sankaracharya, Yadav Prakash explained that Kapi means monkey and Asanam means ass. The verse, therefore, is interpreted to mean Lord Vishnu's lotus eyes are as red as a monkey's ass. Not very complimentary. Ramanuja cried at this interpretation and finally challenged his guru, stating that this was incorrect. And Ramanuja explained that Kapyasam means a lotus which sits upon the water and flourishes by drinking. So the meaning of the verse is that the lotus eyes of Vishnu are as beautiful as a red lotus which blossoms in the water. So that's a much better explanation of that interpretation of that verse. Yadav Prakash was defeated by his disciple, and he plotted with his other disciples to kill Ramanuja. So he was such an envious person. He wanted to kill his own disciple. But the plot failed as Ramanuja's cousin, Govinda, informed him. Ramanuja eventually left the school of Yadav Prakash. His mother advised him to take guidance from a non-Brahmin. So they were in a Brahminical family, but his mother said, take advice, guidance from the disciple of Ramanujacharya, named Kanchipurna. He was greatly inspired. So Ramanujacharya was greatly inspired by Kanchipurna. But his wife considered Kanchipurna as a low-born Shudra. Because at that time, the mood was very much, if you're born in a certain caste, you are eternally, or for in that, while you're in that body, considered to be that part of that caste. Eventually, due to the wife's behavior towards Kanchipurna, Ramanuja left home and he took sannyas. Before this, Ramanuja, he went to meet Yamunacharya, the great guru at that time. So this Kanchipurna was a disciple of Yamunacharya. But he just passed away at that time. And when Ramanujacharya saw this, he also saw there were 3 fingers on the right hand of Ramanujacharya, which were closed. And this was very unusual. So Ramanujacharya understood, and he made 3 vows as follows. He promised to teach the people in general the religion of surrender to Vishnu. So as he did so, one of the fingers of Yamunacharya relaxed. He vowed to comment on the hymns of the Alvas, the South Indian saints. And with this, the 2nd finger relaxed. So these hymns are very popular, especially in the South, and have great meaning, great depth to them. And finally, he promised to write a scholarly commentary on the Vedanta Sutras, expounding the principles of Sri Vaishnavism as the ultimate truth of the Vedas. So with this, the last clenched finger was also relaxed. A look of spiritual peace came over the lotus face of Ramanujacharya's divine master, Sri Yamunacharya, as if to say he could now depart peacefully, knowing that his mission was in good hands. Now remember, Ramanujacharya hadn't even met, or vice versa. Yamunacharya never met Ramanujacharya. So this is quite an interesting combination of saintly personalities combining to propagate Vaishnav Dharma. Oops, what happened? Okay. No. Oh, Bhagavatam. I think Bhagavatam wants to have a go. Just sort this one out. And to this day, Ramanujacharya is revered, especially in the south of India, but not just in the south. He's an extraordinary personality.
Yeah, that's why Modi opened up that statue. And it's to do with equality, because Ramanuja, saw everyone as an equal candidate for bhakti.
Soon after taking sannyas, Ramanuja established his own monastery or ashram, where he began training disciples in his systematic Vaishnava interpretation of Vedanta, as well as in the path of devotion to Vishnu. He took many prominent disciples, including his former teacher, Yadav Prakash. So, full circle. This is very unusual, isn't it? That the guru becomes a disciple. Ramanuja, under the guidance of Mahapunna, a prominent disciple of Yamunacharya, went to the great Goshtipunna and accepted initiation in the Vaishnava mantra. Goshtipunna initially would not give him the mantra, but after Ramanuja promised that he would not share the mantra with anyone, he was given the mantra. When Ramanuja realized the importance of the mantra and others begged him for this, he shared it with all. I believe he went onto a rooftop and he was shouting out this mantra. Everybody can get the benefit. Goshtipunna became angry and he asked Ramanuja, why did you do this? You had promised you would not share the mantra. It's a secret mantra. Ramanuja explained that if the mantra liberates everyone, then he is happy to go to hell for disobeying the order. Then Goshti Puna understood the greatness of Ramanuja. And the mantra was Om Namo Narayanaya. Ramanuja preached far and wide in South India, establishing 74 centers. And this is a time when there wouldn't have been much transport. You have to walk everywhere practically. And wouldn't have been much financial resources as well. But establishing 74 centers. Had many thousands of disciples, including 700 sannyasis, 12,000 celibate students, brahmacharis. But he showed that some of the householders were very advanced. And there's a wonderful example of the sannyasi and the Jews of Dhanurdas' wife. So this pastime actually, there's two parts to it. One time, the sannyasis were asleep and Ramanuja went in the middle of the night and rearranged their gamchas and towels, whatever, kopins. And in the morning, when they woke up, they were trying to find their kopins and their gamchas. They couldn't, and there was a big hoo-ha, almost a punch-up. This is my gamcha, this is my kopin. So in this way, Ramanujacharya showed them that they were very much attached to such basic things, whereas the householders were not attached at all. And he gave them the example of Dhanurdas Das and his wife. So one day, Ramanuja actually sent somebody to go to the ashram in the middle of the night. And that person went and started taking the earrings off, the jewels of the family, earrings of the wife as she was sleeping. And the wife was later relating to the husband, we were really fortunate today. We had a brahmachari come, took our wealth away. And he was trying to take he took one of my earrings. He wanted to take the other earring. So I turned around and let him take that as well. But he got scared when I turned and he ran away. And the husband said, you fool. Don't you have any faith in God? If God wanted him to take the other earring, he would have allowed him. But you were thinking you are more than God. You wanted to make the arrangement to give it to him. But you should understand, it's not yours to give, it's God's anyway. So this showed the mood, the mentality, and the advanced understanding of the householders. Very powerful pastimes. And he had some pastimes in Jagannath Puri. He went to Puri and he saw the worship of Lord Jagannath and he thought, this is not according to the Vedic standards. So he was a very powerful preacher at that time. He was the head of the Sampradaya. He was very well known, very well respected. So he called a meeting of the king and the priests, the head priests, the pandas in the temple the following morning. But during the night, as he was sleeping, he was transported thousands of miles away by Lord Jagannath, and he was warned, leave the worship as it is. I like it. So this shows that the pandas of Jagannath Puri have the direct permission of Jagannath how to worship. It also shows the greatness of Ramanujacharya, that the Lord would take him so far away personally. And extraordinary. So he lived for 100 years. Ramanujacharya. Was it 120 years? So Gauranga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he took two teachings from each of the Sampradaya. And it's always nice to just and be aware of these. So from the Sri Sampradaya, Ramanujacharya's, he said he took away unalloyed devotional service free from karma and gyan, and service to the Vaishnavas, service to the devotees. From the Brahma Sampradaya, Madhvacharyas, he took complete defeat of Mayavad philosophy and the worship of Krishna, because Madhvacharya was a worshipper of Krishna. From the Rudra Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami, he took total dependence on Krishna and this path of spontaneous devotion. And from the four Kumara Sampradaya, Nimbakacharya, he took exclusive shelter of Radharani and exalted love of gopis for Krishna. So by the Lord's mercy, we've got a combination of all of these wonderful philosophical traits. So I wanted to stop there. There's a little bit more past. I must get around to doing this at some point. Anyway, there's a little bit more pastime by Ramanujacharya in Navadvip. So one day we'll have a look at that. Hare Krishna, any questions, any comments? Okay, so let's